Welcome to the Get Real Podcast, your high-octane boost of full-on reality therapy for personal, business, and investing success with your host, Ron Phillips, because somebody's got to tell it like it is.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Get Real Podcast. Ron Phillips here, Heather Marchant with me. And we are literally, for the first time, I think ever, we're recording this on the day you're going to listen to it.
It's as live as it gets.
That is how far behind we are in our lives. So, anybody, we're going to talk about our masterclass today because we had some really awesome. We had a great time, by the way, if you missed it, and we had some really cool takeaways from that. Heather, it was. I think it was really, really cool. We talked about some unique things. So we're going to just discuss a little bit about it briefly, and then we had some great feedback from folks as well. So I think we should probably discuss some of that.
Yes, we had phenomenal feedback. I was actually pretty excited about it because we had so many people who joined the group and didn't really know what to expect and kind of just trusted that we'd provide really good content, and we'd never done anything like it before. So the adventure of leading up to it was super fun. We kind of tossed the idea around for a good 3 months and put together some talking points, got some feedback from clients as to what they would want to learn. And in the end, I was in, November, December, teeing up people that Ron and I look to for guidance for lots of different things, right? So we had guest speakers coming on talking about lots of different alternative investments, as well as some more detail to investments that, most of our clients are even aware of. But so super good content with good people, good guests.
And I think, some of those things in small doses we've discussed on the show. So some of this is not going to come as a shock, but we did such a deep dive into each one of these things. And then I think one of the overarching big takeaways, at least for many of the people who contacted me afterwards, was the way that it all connects, right? The way that all of these different things connect and go together to create this compounding. And that's one of the things that we talked about so many times on the show and in some of our other groups on Facebook, is this investor mindset. And, I think, Heather, we take it for granted. And I think, a lot of you listening, we take for granted the way that we think.
Yeah.
And I would say that's a sound condescending to anyone who doesn't think like that, but it is unique. One of the things that seems so simplistic and yet is such an aha moment for some people when they first hear it. It was for me too, but it's just been 20 years ago. And so it just seems like it's normal everyday thinking. But on the taxes, Heather, I mean, just the simple way that the tax system works for the majority of the country, where a person has a job and then, they pay their taxes, because it gets taken right out of your check, right? And then what's left over, that's what you get to live on. And that the business is the exact opposite. Income comes in, then the business gets to pay its expenses, and then what's left over, they get taxed on. And it is such a massive benefit.
Yeah,
that I don't think
that's
people
true.
Really quite comprehend. And that was just one of the things, that some people came away with. Oh my gosh, why do I not have a company? Why am I still doing it this old way?
Yeah, several people on our team came to me and said, I've got to change up the way I am getting paid. Hey, Heather, what do I need to do to change this up? Right? Because it's setting up a company and getting taxed a different way. Super awesome to see that trickle down effect, right, with people on our team as well. I think one thing that I thought was really cool was the group of people that were attracted to this class, the masterclass, were the people who really actually want to make a difference in the world. I don't know if you noticed a lot of the questions, Ron, that come from of, how do I protect my nest egg that I've built, but also use it to make a difference, right? Which,
Yep.
I mean, I know that's how both of us feel, and I feel like that's why we mostly attract clients that way. But I was excited that this masterclass attracted that same mindset, those same people.
For
So
sure.
they wanted to share with each other and share ways that they can be successful and learn from each other as well, besides just, you and I and the speakers, which I thought was super
So
cool.
the other thing that was kind of eye-opening is, we've talked about for, many, many times about the personal financial statement, and
Mm-hmm.
it keeps coming up that this is a game changer for people.
Yeah.
And I was just at another two masterminds last week, and which is part of the reason we didn't get this done. But I was at two masterminds last week, and in both of those masterminds, it came up probably 3 or 4 different times.
Wow.
And I realize I'm in business masterminds, and so it comes up that people should know their numbers when people are asking them questions about their finances because of the question they asked the group. They should know what the heck the number is, right? But it's the same thing for us as individuals. It's not different. It's critically important to understand your finances and to understand where your assets are, and that you have to focus on that. If you want that to grow, you have to focus on it.
Yeah.
And I know that
Well,
at least 2 or 3 of the people that were in our group, I mean, that was, again, one of their biggest things. They were like, and this actually altered my life, doing this personal financial statement.
I will have to say that I shared this with the group, but preparing for it, we shared several templates for the personal financial statement. And I have been working on one to be utilized by our investors as an exported version of a personal financial statement. So it's something I've been working on for maybe 60 days on and off. And so I was updating mine to make sure all the formulas worked on this spreadsheet that I built. And I reached a milestone in my personal financial statement. I mean, I think it was New Year's Day, I think, when I was working on it, or the day after New Year's Day, because I just had a minute, to finish it. And I was super pumped, right? Even though I knew I was close, the fact that I jumped over the hurdle, oh man, I was stoked. I told my husband it's exciting, and to keep it updated is super important. And the integrations we're going to have with our investor portal in the future, with being able to export a personal financial statement, is
Yes.
the real deal. It's going to be awesome. Have it
And then
auto
there was
calculate.
the whole vision thing. And one of the mastermind groups I was at, there was a guy, young guy, man. He was, I think he was like 30 or something, but young guy, right? And he was talking about the fact that he didn't really have to work hardly at all because of the rental income that he had. And, he was trying really hard to figure out, like, because he wasn't really passionate about the real estate. He really wasn't. He could grow his rental portfolio, but that really wasn't fulfilling his life and everything. And I remember just sitting there and thinking to myself, everybody thinks that this vision thing that we talk about is just this foo-foo stuff, right? But it was fun to be able to tell that kid, I say kid, he's 30 years old. Anyway, tell this young guy, that's what happens when you're almost 50, Heather, is that everybody's, oh my gosh.
Young strapping lad.
Anyway, it's like, look, you're trying to solve a problem. You're trying to get a solution to a problem that you don't even know. You don't even know what the problem is. Right? You're jumping over and trying to solve it by adding rentals, and that's why you're not feeling fulfilled. The problem is you have done something amazing in that you've created freedom for yourself, and now you don't know what to do with your time because you never took the time to sit down and actually figure out what is the vision for your life. What do you want your life to look like? And I've never met anybody who their vision is to just keep buying rental properties forever. Never, nobody.
That is interesting.
And so when you get to the point where you no longer have to buy them, financially you're stable or free, then what?
Yeah.
And that's why we harp. That's the way it's the first thing we talk about, Heather, is the investor mindset and getting your vision down and understanding why are we doing all of this stuff to begin with? Because all of the tactics and everything are cool. There's no fulfillment in any of that.
Yeah.
That's one of the things we talked about in the masterclass, is really taking the time to sit down, dial in your vision, and then looking at your finances. Like, find out what your vision actually costs to live.
Yeah.
Might not cost that much for this guy. Who knows how much it would cost to fulfill the vision of what his life would look like.
That is really cool. I hadn't really thought of that. That's as far as the perpetually buying rental properties as your vision, right?
Yeah, how boring is that?
Vision. Yeah.
It's so boring. Okay, well, I got another one. It's cash flowing. Okay, now what? I mean, I haven't, everything that we tell you guys to do, like you get the management company, you have everything lined up. Okay, so maybe you have to take a few phone calls from the management company, and then what?
Yeah.
I mean, what do you do for the rest of the week? And this kid was sitting there. He's like, yeah, I don't really work that much, so I don't really know what to do. And I felt for him, because I get it, but at the same time, this particular mastermind I was in is all about vision. Like, get your freaking vision done, for crying out loud, and
that is amazing.
Yeah.
I wonder how we got that far without really having a vision. That's interesting.
Well, it's because in people listening, somebody out there is going, yeah, well, I mean, I thought the same thing. Well, yeah, people do think that. They think that even when they pay to join the mastermind, it's about vision, that, maybe that's like a tertiary thing that we do, right? We get all this other stuff done first. No, actually, no. The vision comes first. And then we wrap the business around it so that we can live our visions while we have an operating business. And if you do it the other way around, you can get yourself the operating business, but then you feel vacant because you don't know what to do with your time, with all of this time that you have on your hands now, because you're financially independent. Yeah, so just do it the other way around, And then when you get there, things will just continue to work like they're supposed to, because you're living your vision. It's pretty amazing, really.
And I loved doing it the first week in January, although some of my clients that would have been a great participant in the masterclass said, no way in the world I can do the first week in January. I loved it that we were right out of the new year and talking about vision and getting clear on what you want in 2022 and what life's going to look like. Oh, it was so good. I wouldn't be sad to do it again in January.
Maybe second week.
Yeah,
I agree with whoever that was.
Yeah,
that was crazy. First day back, and we were live.
True. Good point. Maybe the second week. You're right. But still, I think just having that fresh focus of a fresh new year was really cool. And then I think moving into some other speakers that we talked a lot about asset protection and some tools, and that's something I'm implementing straight out of the gate. I already had a consultation working on getting all of my blueprint together so that I can then move forward, because I set up my asset protection stuff like 5 years ago and it feels very outdated at this point. 5 years with how much I've done in the last 5 years, it's intense.
One of the things that I keep talking about these masterminds, but one of the things that kept coming up at these mastermind groups is kind of the same thing, and that I did this asset protection and I thought it was done, right? But that's not true. You reach different levels of wealth, which require you to have different tools in your toolbox. Which is part of the reason why we did this advanced class, because some of the things that you do when you first start out, I mean, they're good, but they're
overkill. Yeah.
Yeah. You just can't, those don't work. They don't have the same legs as you might need if your wealth is growing at a pretty good clip, which a lot of the people who were attending the class, they were. Yeah. They needed some additional tools in the toolbox, right, to be able to take care of that stuff. And I think asset protection, people talk about asset protection. If you don't have your personal financial statement done and you don't know which assets you're protecting, you can't even start down that path, right? So it's these things layer on top of each other, and increasing your wealth, growing wealthier. I mean, it's a great thing, but it causes other problems.
Exactly right.
You have to be able to understand how to take care of these problems as you're growing the wealth. Otherwise, you'll lose it. Potentially, you'll lose it.
Exactly. I think that is one thing that was definitely a distinction with this group between this and our other groups we've run in the past. Is this was designed to be an accelerated course for the reasons you said, right? So we charged a little bit so that way we attract the people who are growing. Otherwise, we would have had a class with 1,000 people in it, and it would have not have been the same class. So super helpful that it was a smaller group asking questions that were more of a caliber of question for the room, right? Versus having beginner questions when we're talking about, do you need to set up an umbrella policy to ensure, you know what I mean? Those questions that would not have applied to a beginner investor. So the course definitely is more applicable to someone who's scaling and ready to take things to the next level for sure.
Right. Right.
Very
And
cool.
I think one of the really big, if we talk about it for just a second, Heather, one of the big, I think, aha moments was, our clients, whether they're, brand new beginner clients or whether they've been doing this for years and years and years, and they have many assets, they all have the same benefit in that they get access to our Rolodex. And that's not insignificant. We just kind of went through it with people. So I think one of the big aha moments for people was, I don't know that they really realized what was available.
Mm-hmm.
And we can go through just some of the things, right? Then this was just a short list of some of the things that our clients have access to just by virtue of being our clients, right? Mm-hmm. We had our CPA on. Many of our clients use the same CPA that Heather, you and I both use. Obviously, they get access to our team, but then there's this whole host of other professionals that we know, right? The syndication deals that we talked about, obviously rental properties, commercial properties, notes, title companies, and lenders, and these are some of the best in the country. Our master insurance policy, which we talked about on one of our episodes, so if you guys missed that one, you should go back and check it out. That in and of itself is a massive benefit and savings. Mm-hmm. But there's more, right? There's the asset protection attorneys, the asset managers, how to use virtual assistants, where to find virtual assistants, private capital if you need it, local real estate agents. We've helped dozens and dozens and dozens of people all over the country, places that we don't even do business with, local agents because of the reach that we have. Mm-hmm. Lenders for different applications than just the lenders that we currently have. Assisted living investments, real estate attorneys of all stripes, litigation attorneys, SEC attorneys, SEC attorneys. I mean, you name it. The list just goes on and on and on and on and on.
And we left so many off. After we finished, I was like, oh man, I forgot to put this, I forgot to put that. But the property managers that run the property on the day-to-day, but you have cost segregation that you can take some handsome depreciation tax write-offs, and pretty game changing for myself, allowed me to accelerate the growth of my portfolio. Mm-hmm. And then entity creation, I think I refer out for entity creation, gosh, at least it's probably once a week that someone says, hey, I need to create an LLC. Who do you have, that can help me with that? And then one that you use, Ron, the fractional CFO, and any of, the people you've used to run this company. So, and others.
Yeah. There's so many people, like you said, that we forget until somebody asks, mm-hmm. like, what do I do about this? And we go, oh, well, you just call these people over here and they take care of it for you.
Yeah.
And I was doing that at both of the masterminds last week. People were like, well, what do you do about this? Oh, you don't do that. You call this person over here and they do that. That's their deal. Right. And I think one of the big takeaways for everybody on the call was, holy crap. Like, I may have asked a question or two, but literally anything that has to do with real estate investing or business, we have a resource for it, right? And we are open books for our clients. So really one of the major things that I think they took away, especially the people who replied and gave me some feedback.
Yeah. One of my favorite things we did in Zoom, we did the course in Zoom, and you can create a poll. And toward the end of the class, we just said, hey, which session was the most impactful for you? And I was pretty surprised, because what sessions I found to be the most impactful for myself were actually not really highlighted in that poll, right? So that everybody really had a different need and a perspective in coming to the course. I think I'm pulling up the poll right now. The top was actually alternative ways to finance. Like, once you're past 10 conventional loans, that was the top session for everybody as far as the value.
Crazy, I would have never guessed that.
I know, right?
For Heather and I, that's easy.
Yes, because we do that all the time.
That's just easy. Just call these people over here. Well, shocker, not everybody knows that. And we, like I said, we take for granted the things that we know that we do every day in this business. And, I think mostly, Heather and I just wanted to get across to you that one of the things that came out of this first week of January when we did this is we take this for granted. And then our clients, I don't think, realize the depth and breadth of what they have access to. At least that's what I gathered from the people who were on our class.
Yeah. I think one other takeaway I had is how in this business and this industry, you never stop learning. I mean, you came away with like, hey, I've got to start doing that. I'm going to change up some stuff. I'm going to call, and use this LLC and all this stuff. So there's takeaways that we both had, and you've been doing this a lot longer than I have, and you still had stuff that you didn't know about and wanted to do differently because of the masterclass. So that's the one thing I love, is no 2 days are the same, but I also get to continue learning all the time. No stale days.
Yep. And I think that those things hit you when you're ready for them, right? Because
true.
My takeaway was a great takeaway for at least one other person, I think maybe two, but it wasn't really that big of a deal for everybody else. But for the three of us, like we had already created the new LLC. I mean, we were moving forward on the next day's phone call or the next day's class. And but isn't it funny how you learn the things that you're ready to learn? And so you've got to be constantly growing. That's that whole compound effect that we talked about ad nauseum on here, right? That you're either growing or you're shrinking in literally every aspect of your life. And so if you're not growing, then you need to figure it out. And if you are growing, you're going to have new questions. You're going to have new ideas and new things that you hadn't. And if somebody had talked to me about that three years ago, it might not have hit, but it hit this week because I'm specifically need that thing this week.
Yeah,
right.
That's a really good point. Because our next runner-up sessions tied, and it was asset protection and tax benefits. Mm-hmm. How to get some more tax write-offs in your life and it was only one vote behind, right? Those two sessions tied. And then I'll just give one more. The next one was about whole life insurance, using it to help grow your wealth. And I
know several of those people, because I got messages, were like, I would have never even listened to this because of all of the negative talk about whole life insurance that is out there in the marketplace. Which is fair. I mean, listen, if you set up the policy wrong, it's not good.
Yeah.
It's okay, but it's not good. It's certainly not great. But if you set it up right, I mean, those people all walked away with, holy crap, I did not know that. That's the kind of moment they had.
Yeah.
And so again, you learn what you're ready for. So get ready out there. That's, I guess, the biggest takeaway, right? Is that you learn what you're ready for. So you need to go get ready.
Yeah. The more you grow, the more you'll be prepared for more. So it was super fun. And I thought pausing for a minute on a podcast and talking about the takeaways may be helpful for those who attended, but also mostly those who didn't, right? The things that maybe some nuggets that we learned from it to share with you. We will have it available for those who are wanting to still access it but couldn't attend the course, which I know several people are going to reach out to me because we have just decided this. We are going to make it available in a recording format. So it will be, if you go to our website, rpcinvest.com/masterclass, you can sign up there and we will release the course to you. It is still going to require payment because everyone that joined the class paid and also spent the time. It will be a course you can work through, but then you'll be a part of that group. And we are, I know I am in the mindset that we're going to do some follow-up stuff with that group. So
we're kicking around ideas of what we're going to do with that group. And we've actually, the people in the group are helping us determine what it is we're going to do with that. So anyway, we had a blast. So I hope more of you sign up, take advantage of it. And if not, that's okay too. But at least now you have a little bit of an idea of what we did. Anyway, great feedback. So I hope more of you can log in and check it out, get some real value out of it. That's the reason Heather and I did it. So
that's right.
Well, listen.
Yep.
We're going to get ourselves back on track so we're not late anymore. Apologize for that, everybody. And I guess this week, what Heather and I need to go out and make happen is some more podcasts, which
that's right.
Get ready to do. So while we're doing that, y'all get out there and make something happen.
We're gonna walk the walk, my friends. All right, bye guys.
This has been the Get Real Podcast. To subscribe and for more information, including a list of all episodes, go to getrealestatesuccess.com.